Thank you very much for having me. I'm trying to open my camera as well. I don't know whether you're gonna see me. Hi, everyone. My name is Sianda Mamale. At the research office, responsible for research ethics at Rhodes University, from the application process to good conduct of research and all round of research ethics. So we've been doing this series of workshops, and I'm very pleased to be requested to be part of this training as well from the postgraduate school. And thank you very much, Sharon, for communicating this with me. I've been working with research ethics for the past, I think this year, 10 years now. I started working at University of Zululand for about 6 years, dealing with research ethics. Then I worked at UKZN for about 2 years. Now I'm turning 3 years here at Rhodes, so which was about 10. So it has been a journey, and that experience that I've covered from all these different universities has been very much great, because they've got different understandings of research backgrounds, research cultures, and challenges that they face. So I'll take you through today on this research ethics training, which I'll cover a background of research ethics, and then cover what is ethics, why do we need ethics, why do we apply for ethics, what do research ethics committees look for, and then we're gonna go into practical training, where I'll request everyone to practically go and open their ERAS forms and actually apply, so that we can test the form. You're just gonna create a dummy, and then you can just apply. And then any other questions, I'll take them after the training. So I won't be looking at the chats, so I'll ask Sharon to control that for me while I go through the training. Thank you very much. So, so here we're going to be looking at why research ethics. Many people, I believe that before you even do all these ethical clearances, and not as a researcher, you need to understand where does all this research ethics talks come from? Where do they evolve from? So in the 20th century, there's a lot of research misconducts that were done, especially by the Western countries, coming to Africa and using people as guinea pigs on their research. They will test medical equipment to them. Companies like Pfizer was one of those companies who came into Africa and abused people's rights in conducting research. So research ethics evolved more from a medical point of view, medical research, and then it evolved towards social science and educational research. Various cases were recorded in Africa and elsewhere in the country. The ones that I could remember quite well, one in Uganda, one in Nigeria, one in Zimbabwe, and one in South Africa on pregnant women. Many other cases that happened. And there's another one that happened in Japan, where prisoners were used. You can look that up. Those are just the cases that made this whole research ethics talk came about. So due to these abuses and misconduct in countries, then the talks of research ethics and ethics committees came about. So in South Africa, under the National Health Department, mandated by the minister, we established a council called the National Health Research Ethics Council, which is mandated by an act in the Constitution. This council is the council that monitors all research ethics activities in the country, whether it's from a hospital point of view, whether it's from a higher education point of view, or an independent research center. This council, the National Health Research Ethics Council, is tasked to oversee all the 27 universities in the country, all the research entities in the country like NRF, CSIR, MRC, you name them. All those that have ethics committees, they're also mandated to look into provincial ethics committees, Department of Health ethics committees that are around the country. But we're gonna focus more on universities. So within universities, the National Health Research Ethics Council governs all research ethics committees at the universities. All universities are registered with this council, not all, but they must be. Currently in the country, we've got about 46 human ethics committees. These committees deal with human participants research only. And we've got about 18, the number is growing, animal research ethics committees, which deal with animal use. And the council uses guidelines that helps us as institutions to create policies from. These guidelines include, nonetheless, how to review a proposal, what guides to review a proposal or an application. Like for instance, the first part where we say proposals that are conducting research must undergo an independent review. It's still a big talk, still a huge debate that is done where people feel that why is my research from humanities must be reviewed by someone from pharmacy or from someone from science. It's a requirement to improve unbiased reviews and more transparency, if I can put it that way. These are some of the guidelines. Social and ethical values are promoted, researchers' accountability in their research activities. So the structure that we have at Rhodes University. So we've got, in the management point of view, we've got the DVC Research and Innovation, Dr. Peter Clayton, who is in the management point of view, a responsible person for any research activities going on at Rhodes, whether it's a research committee, he chairs that, whether it's the ethics committees or higher degrees, anything that has to do with research. Then there's a research office which houses me, which covers the office space, the equipment that I'm using, the budget that I'll be using. And then there's another committee which is called the Rhodes Ethical Standard Committee. This committee is a strategic committee that sits both human and animal representatives to discuss any strategic decision that needs to be taken, whether it's a policy update, whether it's a process update, whatever that has to do with ethics, it's discussed there, but there are no reviews done there. It's just a strategic discussion. And then there's me in the middle that all these entities report to. I work with them, they come to me, and then I have to work with these two committees. So these are the two committees. This is Human Ethics Committee. This is the registration number with the council. This is the Animal Ethics Committee. This is the registration number with the council. And under the Animal Ethics, there's ESCO, few members of this committee that take decisions without any meeting sitting. There's an executive committee, and then here we've got subcommittees that are still coming up. We've got Faculty of Education, then humanities that report to this committee. Now, we've had a lot of discussions and confusions about differences between research ethics and law. And there's a big discussion on that. And I got this from a good literature regarding the difference between the two. Law and ethics are not the same. Many people think that it's the same. In fact, research ethics is just this law that we must undergo in order for me to graduate, in order for me to start data collection. It's not. There is an overlap. What is demanded or forbidden by law may not be by ethical standards, which is the case. Research ethics can be defined as norms for conducting that distinguish between acceptable and unacceptable behaviors in research. Research ethics is about rights and wrongs in research, values of science and expected standards to conduct in science. Many people use these terms ethics and morality interchangeably, as they both have to do with right and wrongness of action. The difference between morality and ethics is that morality is something that is normative, while ethics define standards or rules that determine what is good, what is bad research in a particular community, group, organization, or social setting. So this goes beyond that. We discuss what procedures and processes are needed to manage research ethics and integrity within an institution. We need to have policies that we've created. We need to have committees that review these application processes involving human and animal. We need to have procedures on investigating and reporting. With these procedures are called monitoring and evaluation, where we do have it at Rhodes, where we've created a form where you have to write, it's called a progress report form. That's how we monitor, where we ask questions whether, how far are you with your research? What have you done so far? What issues have you encountered when it comes to ethical issues? And do you need an extension? Do you still need to go, do you want to amend your research? So those are kind of monitoring, investigation, and reporting misconduct. Procedures to ensure that laboratory safety rules are followed. Procedures for approving and managing budgets. We've got that at Rhodes. Training for all researchers in ethics, this is one of them, which is important as well. I always advise students or researchers, before you buy a phone, you look at the specs, go to a YouTube video, you find out more information about the phone. Before you buy a car, you test drive the car. So same thing, before you apply for ethics committee, at least have a basic understanding what the ethics committee is going to look for in your research. Before you go through that form and apply and upload your form, you must understand, so that when you're responding to the questions, you know what the research ethics committee expects. So this is just a few general from the NHRC scope of what ethics committees look for. But being specific, some universities change due to the types of research that they are reviewing. So the committee looks at the study design, the alignment of research topics, research questions, aim, objectives, methodology, and research instruments. I know many supervisors, not many people, have a problem with this first part. We feel that this is a quality. When you look at the study design, you're looking at quality. It has nothing to do with ethics. So ethics committees are overstepping the boundaries, which is fair. That's how they feel, and that's how they see it, and abuse of academic freedom. But within the ethics context, we are also obligated to look into bad research is unethical. So we can't approve bad research just because we have to focus more on the methodology only. Anything else, if the objectives are not aligned with the aims and the research question is all over the place, we just have to ignore that. We can't. As a research ethics committee, we can flag it and point it out and not even approve or say maybe send back, but it's important that the committee looks into that. We looked at risks and benefits. We look at equitable and unbiased of selection of participants. We look at identification of research participants. How did you identify them? And ensuring confidentiality. We always request supervisors to discuss the difference between confidentiality and anonymity. A huge confusion from students, because you pick it up when they are filling in the form. We look at all research instruments. And that's where researchers feel that we must start reviewing ethics only when it comes to methodology. So we look at the research instrument that you've provided, which is very important that you have to provide or attach research instruments where applicable. We look at qualifications of researchers. This one might be confusing, but let's make a simple example. Let's say you're doing a study under human movement science on pregnant women from 3 to 6 months, and you're a student, honor student, or a master student, but you don't have any midwifery experience. So if anything happens to your participants, you need someone who's qualified to handle any stress or any misfortune, anything that may happen in that part. So this is where we look at the qualification, whether have you covered all the aspects of your research. The last part, I put this one in with my experience of always reviewing applications. Researchers and students do not write applications clearly for the committee to understand. For example, When I say what, who, when, why, I'm mentioning this from a perspective where when you're writing, you must write as a person who is not writing for an expert. If you're an expert in education, you're an expert in anthropology or sociology, but when you're writing your research, you're not writing for sociologists only. You are writing for everyone, your wide scope of readers that are going to read your research. So you must write in a way that is so clear. Same thing when it comes to ethics. We look into, you must know that the committee is not, they are not experts from your field. So when you're answering those questions, be discreet, be open, be clear. When you say you're going to be doing video recordings, tell us where you're going to be saving those recordings, in which secured file. How are you going to maintain identification of people's faces in that video? How are you going to maintain people's identities and names? And not be clear, be straightforward. Don't just say, I'll be recording. I'll do video recording. I'll do voice recording. And then what else? Explain, explain, explain. If you're going to say, I'm going to be collecting data in the township of Makanda, why did you pick Makanda? I'm going to be looking at people who are not working, the guys who are sitting there washing cars. Why them? How did you come to the conclusion of selecting that group? Is that a vulnerable group? It's like, for instance, you're doing research even at Rhodes, where you'll be doing research from people who are earning less from grade 1 to grade 5. And many research has been done at Rhodes like that. There is a question that the committee is going to ask. Are you going to these people because these people are less paid? Are you identifying your research participants according to their grading or whatnot, or there's more to that? It will help more on your research. You must elaborate, you must state, and you must explain to us. So those are the things where you say, give us clear descriptions when you're writing. So when you write, you must be clear, simple, and straightforward. Workflow. So now that we're getting at how the ERAS form works. ERAS is a short abbreviation of Ethical Review Application System. So for all of you who just keep on understanding, what is this thing called ERAS? It's just our online system. It's a name that we've given our online system that is used to apply for ethics. So this is just a flow of how your research goes when you're applying at Rhodes. As an applicant, you apply, it goes to a departmental rep. The department rep validates. If you are from Faculty of Education, you don't have a departmental rep. And then it goes down to applications assigned for review. This is where we assign your application to reviewers. And then it takes about 2 weeks process to review. And then it comes to the meeting. The meeting looks into it, reviews it, and makes a decision. Each committee has one meeting each month. Every month there is a meeting. The meetings are on our website. Meeting dates are on our website. Please make use of that. You can download them and plan accordingly. Faculty of Education Ethics Committee has deadlines when you submit. Human Ethics Committee and the Animal Ethics Committee does not have deadlines. So we're trying to create more flexibility where you have to plan and work around when you're going to apply. So if you know the workflow, say, like, we have a meeting tomorrow for human ethics. So the next meeting for human ethics is on the 11th of June. So if you're going to apply tomorrow, and the next meeting is on the 11th of June, so you are sure that your application is going to go in because it's going to go through this process. But if you're going to apply on the 2nd of June and expecting that your application must serve on the 11th of June, it's a dream that won't come true. So you must plan according to your schedule, which is very, very important. Then these are the decisions that are outcomes, whether it's approved, provisionally approved, pending gatekeeper or permission letter, minor modifications, major modifications, not approved or unsuccessful. All are the decisions that happen. I'd like to touch more on the permission to conduct research. There's provisional approval, the gatekeeper. How the gatekeeper works. And this is very important to take note, because many students have made a lot of mistakes where I had to send out an email clarifying. So you apply, let's say you're doing research, collecting data in Makana, shop right here in Makana. You want to talk to the cashiers that are working there. So what do? You don't want to talk to the cashiers that are working there. You put in the application to ERAS. You attach the letter that you've written to the general manager of the mall or of ShopRite. The committee reviews your application, gives you provisional approval, meaning we're approving your application pending that you get the approval from ShopRite. But we want to see that approval. So we're giving you this letter, take it with to ShopRite, and then ShopRite is going to give you a letter or an email or whatever way or to say you can come. Then you have to bring it to the committee. Once you bring it to the committee, then the committee approves and gives you final approval. So that's the whole gatekeeper permission letter. So that's how it works. Application flow. This is just for your noting, just notes really, where honors applications are expedited on request because they've got a short time period at Rhodes. We've got a 1 year to do everything. A master's and PhD, which are low risk, also expedited. And then there's a part where, yes.
Sorry, there's quite a lot of noise in the background. I wonder if it's possible for you to perhaps close the door or just tell people that you're on a Zoom, just so that people can actually hear you, because it's a little bit distracting.
Oh, sorry about that.
Apologies for the interruption. It was getting a little bit loud and I just wanted to make sure everyone could hear.
Okay. So just one. Okay, sorry about that. So as I'll start afresh this slide. So for honors applications, you can request for an expedited procedure. And for masters and PhD, when it's low risk, expedited review can be requested. An expedited review is when the application is not going to serve on the meeting, it's not going to follow the process, the workflow. You're going to apply, it's going to get a special treatment where it's reviewed by the chair and a few members and gets approved due to time. Amendment request and extension, this is still done offline, which is still sent to me, where you send an amendment request. So due to COVID, many people wanted to collect data via face-to-face, but due to COVID, they couldn't, so they had to change their methodology. So when your application has been approved and you want to change the way you're going to collect data, so what you do then is you have to send an amendment to the chair and you copy me. So you write a letter saying, I'm changing this with my supervisor. I wanted to collect data face-to-face. Now I'm going to do it online. And then you get approval. That's called an amendment. And then when it comes to extension is when you are writing, so our certificates are 1 year approval. So as if it's 1 year approval, if you delay in collecting data until, let's say today is the 13th of May, so you get your approval. And then next year, 13th of May, 2021, your certificate expires, but you didn't get enough time to collect data for whatever reason, it can be a personal reason or whatever, then you have to request for an extension. You can't collect data after the 13th of May, 2022, while it's expired, right? So you have to request for an extension. Soon enough, maybe before end of this year, I would have finalized the process and put it on the ERAS form as well, so that everything will be online. But for now, you send an email to the chair and to myself, and then you request for each one of this. These are requested separately. They're not the same. You can't just request amendment and think it's the extension. Separate. Amendment is something else. Extension is something else. Annual progress report. Again, I'm working on that process with the DVC and the chairs to move them from ROS and put them on the ERAS form, so that we can. There's a bit of a confusion that has transpired that we're trying to align. So for now, they're still on ROS, but by end of this year or next year, they'll be on ERAS. How they'll be on ERAS is you will get an email that will remind you to do a progress report on ERAS as a reminder each year towards your expiry of your certificate. So when you get that email, then you go to the form, you fill it in, to ask you all those questions, and you get an approval. So that's still on the pipeline. So still a lot of work to be done, but I think by end of this year, it will be sorted. So are there any questions before we go to the practical part of the training? I don't know that.
Francesca has a question. If the original application has specific dates that go beyond the 12 months, why would one need an extension? Often PhD projects know from the start that the research will be for about 3 years. So if you, I mean, is it sort of, does it not matter what project you're doing? Is it always 1 year, or would a PhD project get a longer period of time to collect data?
No. So normally these are rare cases.
Okay.
Even at a PhD level, because people at a PhD level, that in different faculties, there are programs that how PhDs run. So once a person is ready to collect data, that's when they start applying for ethics. So it does run within their schedule. So these are rare cases where a person would then need an extension. So if in this case, even if you know that your application is gonna go beyond the 1 year, but you still have to then plan ahead that I'll collect data from this first batch, and then the second one, and then the third one. So our approval, you can even mention it in the form, so that you can be aware that we're approving the first part, we're going to approve the second part or the third part. So extensions for that are required, even if you are aware that it's going to take more than a year, because it's our policy. It's in the policy that our certificates will last for a year. But right. we are in negotiations, because with NHRC, it's not a requirement. It's just Rhodes' decision that they said, no, let's make it a year for our monitoring and evaluation. We can give it 3 years. We can give it 2 years. Yeah.
Okay. So it doesn't matter if your project's 2 years or 3 years, you'll get approval for the first year. And then if you need more time to collect data, you'll have to apply for an extension to your ethical clearance.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. Thanks. I think that covers the questions so far. So yeah, Francesca just says, well, she says, would not an upfront approval and further approvals based on the annual reports be sufficient? I'm guessing the answer to that is you still need to formally apply for an extension.
Okay,
Even if
that one, yeah, So the second question, once as I've said, once we've aligned our processes when it comes to extensions and reminders, then in that case, you will not, the system will help you to remind you that you need an extension or not. So the annual progress report will entail that question within it.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, that currently it's still confusing, because you have to go on ROS and respond to these questions and come back on ERAS and respond to these questions. So now we have to align that and take out any ethics questions on ROS and just do an annual progress report with your supervisor, the dean, and yourself. That's it. Once the dean approves, you can register, because the university doesn't want to take that out. They still want to say ROS progress report must be done to give a student another chance to register. But on ethics, on the other hand, it must be whether the student wants to an extension or not. So there's a difference in that. Okay,
all right. I think that's all the questions for now. Yeah, please keep the questions coming, and Sianda will do another round of question answering after this application process section. Thanks, Sianda.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Francesca, for the good questions. Okay, for now, I'll then request everyone to go on Google Chrome or Internet Explorer or Firefox. Open any of those search engines, and let's just work together in this application process. I'll be very slow. I know I'm very fast when I talk, but I'll be very slow because now we're working with different laptops and different Wi-Fi's that are slow and fast. So I'll try to be slow so that everyone can get into this. So please go to on your search bar, www.ru.ac.za. Click on that. Then you say enter. It's going to bring you to this website at Rhodes. Okay, so I don't know whether you can see my screen. So I've clicked www.ru.ac.za. Takes you to this, and then you have to click on research next to community engagement. And then again, home, research reports, postgraduate study, postgraduate study, chair, staff resource, postgraduate, there is ethics. Click on it. And then when you scroll down, there's a nice research ethics overview that you can read for yourself, that we've prepared, that gives you an overview of what Rhodes works and what we promote and how it's aligned with the NHRC, as I've told you in my presentation, and how it's aligned with our processes and what we're trying to standard. I think the committees that I wrote there, they are. And yeah, so familiarize yourself with that, but you scroll down. You scroll down again. There's a nice overview on how to access this ERAS form. You scroll down to that. There's more information. This first line, ERAS is an online system through which Rhodes students and staff apply for and receive ethical clearance. Means only Rhodes registered students and employed staff, whether contract or permanent members which I have active on the system, can only access the system. No one else. Use your Rhodes credentials to access it. It says click here to access it. Please don't click it yet. No, wait. So we're still familiarizing ourselves with the website. Those are my contact details. If you scroll down, those are the manuals that you may need that you can download. If you scroll down, those are the videos that I've created for you. If you forget today's training, you can just always go to those videos and watch those videos, short videos, 2-minute videos, how to access ERAS page, how to create a project, how to address comments, and. I still have to put more videos because there are many other frequently asked questions that are coming up. But for now, that's what we have. If you scroll up again, applying from outside Rhodes. This is very important for you, for those students and staff who are doing research at Rhodes. If you are doing research with staff members at Rhodes, there's the person you write to. Director Human Resource, that's your gatekeeper. If you're doing research with students, that's your gatekeeper. I've given their details there. And they always send your gatekeeper to me and your chairs. Events and trainings, we're still working on that. But there's important information there. So if you are doing research and you want templates of informed consent, letters requesting permission, parent informed consent, Applications of Eastern Cape Department of Education. You can download those there. They are there, we've provided them for you. You can edit them according to your research. You're not forced to follow exactly as what is there, just a template for you to use. You scroll down. Research involving animals, there's more information on there. You can click see more, read more. That's your chair, Dr. Shelley Edwards. You can click and write them an email. That's your deputy chair. Those are the dates, you can download them. Again, research involving human participants. There's your chair there, Prof. Arthur Webb. There's your deputy chair, that's myself there. Those are the dates of the meetings. Again, research in education. There's your chair, there's your deputy chair, there's the person who's assisting administratively. Those are the manuals that you can download. Those are the meeting dates. So it's very important just to know this. We update it every month. So still under construction to be updated further, but just know this. But let's go back to ERAS application. So let's click here. So I'm sorry for myself, it just logged in because I was already logged in. But for you, it's gonna give you a login access where you put in your username and password. If you have any problems with your username and password, please don't come to me. Go to IT for them so that they can reset it for you. I can only assist you with the form once you've logged in, but I can't help you to log in because I don't have the sign-on rights as an admin. So please sign in and log in, and it will take you to this landing page. So you have to write to support@ru.ac.za in order to, when you're stuck, when you're not at Rhodes, when you're not working at Rhodes, or around in Grahamstown and you're stuck with login, just write to them and give them your student number and everything, and then they're gonna help. Okay, so I hope everyone is on this landing page now. So this is a landing page of the system, the ethical review application system. You have to check your name there. This is your landing area. This is where your project will be if you've applied, the training that I've done so far. But focus more on the actions on your left-hand side. There's create folder, delete folder, create project, delete project, duplicate project. We focus more on create project. If you click on create project, when you click on, sorry, when you click on create project, so you have to put in your title there. So we'll say today's training on ERAS and ethics. It can be any project. If there's a project that you want to apply, you can type it now, or else you can create just a dummy. And then they click on the forms, you select a form. So if your research has to do with animal handling, you click on that form. If your research has to do with education, you click on that. If it has to do with human participants, you click on that. So let's use human participants, and then you say create. So once you create, on top there, you're gonna see your title. On your right-hand side in the corner there, you're gonna see a number. That is your project ID number, which is very important when you're making queries with me. It's your clearance number. So when you're making queries with me, just send me that number so that I can know what's going on. On your left-hand side, under actions, you'll see that you'll notice it has changed from all this delete project, create project to project, create subforms, share, completeness check, viewed as PDF. So as we embark on the form and figure with the form, the actions keep on changing to support your current status of your form. If you scroll down there's this question that says action required. If it says yes, it means you have to do something. And on your status, yes, action is required because the form is not submitted. So wherever you are in the country, wherever you are in the world, you can always check what is happening with your application without calling me or making a follow-up. You can just always check your status there. It also keeps a record on when has this been typed. Then this is the form. This is the form. If you click on project details, right, that's where you start with the form. Okay, so you read those letters written in red. I try to write them in red so that they can be visible. The important one there is always observe the information bubbles on your right-hand side of your form. They've got information, but I'm going to show you them. Under actions, you can see it has changed now. There's next, there's previous, there's navigate, there's view form, there's document, there's signature. Next is when you're moving to the next section. You'll see it will change. If you click on next again, it will change. So it gives you moving forward, right? If you say previous, it takes us back. Again, it takes us back. So that's how you use previous and next. And then when you click on navigate, it just takes you straight back to the form. There, it takes you straight to the form. Again, you can click on the form again. When you click on view as PDF, you want to view this form as PDF. You just click on the on those tick boxes, and then you're going to view the form. It's going to be viewed as PDF. Documents, you want to download the form as PDF. You can download it, click on document, then you can download it. Signatures, when you check the signatures that are required, if there are any, I will get into it. You save the form as you go along. Share, I'm going to show you that you can share your form once you finish filling in your form, but before you sign, because when you sign, it means that you've started the process of submitting. So you can share your form with your supervisor by entering their Rhodes email addresses, and then you click all the tick boxes there. Then you click on share. Once you click on share, the system is going to send the form to your supervisor. They can be able to access the form and edit where it's possible. But mind you, the form is not editable like Word document where there are track changes. They can literally erase and add a name, but there are no track changes on the form. It doesn't work like that. Okay. So let's start with the form, the first part of the form. Have you applied for ethics approval for any cell approval of anybody? You say no. If you say yes, it gives you another thing. This question is just about it's mostly in rare cases. Some of the research that is done at Rhodes is collaborative with other universities. So say a student is doing research at Rhodes with University of Wits versus Rand. Wits approves it and gives an ethical clearance. So when it comes to us, you must tick whether they've also got ethical clearance so that we note that in our meeting. But these are rare cases, as I've said. Has this application undergone through higher degrees? This is not applicable for Faculty of Science because they don't have higher degrees. Why this question is important again is because it must undergo higher degrees for quality evaluation. There's your title over there. You can always edit it and add where possible, or change it or delete something that you want to delete. type of research, whether you're a student or staff. When you're a student, you have to select the undergraduate, honors, masters, PhD, or practical. Self-funded, this is when you are paying for yourself. Publicly funded, this is NRF grants, bursaries. Privately funded, these are bursaries, maybe NGOs, private companies. Project duration, very important. This is where you have to estimate when you're going to start collecting data. Very important, because as I've said before, if you are planning that your application is going to save in the 11th of June meeting, so here the approximate date will be June after the 11th, after this meeting, June 25. When are you planning on starting collecting data? It must be after the meeting, not before. Very important. Number of duration, how long is your study course, whether it's a master's or a PhD, it's 24 months, 18 months, 12 months, 6 months. That's what you write there, and that's it. Then you say next. Takes you to the next part. Here, the days that either I was talking about, the information bubble, if you click on it, it gives information about that particular question. So whenever you see this next to your question, just click on it so that you can familiarize yourself with that question. It's very important. Here, you have to fill in all those spaces. You mustn't leave any space unfilled because it's going to be a problem. If you don't know, please say NA, not applicable, but do not leave blank spaces. If you've got a course supervisor, if you say yes, it's going to give you more space to fill in their names there. If you don't, you say no, then you move on. So navigate. I'm not going to go through the whole form. It's a very straightforward form, but I'm just going to go through the most sections that are frequently asked questions in. First one would be this one, research activities. Here you click what your research is all about. Now, this question is very important. If you say yes, it's going to give you options to respond. If you say no, and then again in this one, if you say yes, it's going to give you a drop down to respond. If you say no, it's not. But whatever that you click, whatever how you answer these questions here will determine the below answers. If it includes this, so if you click on it, and then you see there are places where you even upload documents. You go browse, attach, and then you put it. When you're attaching a document, when it says version, date, you just click on the date, on that date, that particular date. And then it says version. It's the first time you're uploading that application, so you say 1. If you're going to upload more than 1, then you're going to say 2 to the next one and 3 to the next one as it goes, and then you click on upload. It's very important. Don't get confused on that. Again, let's go to another question. Gatekeeper permission. This one is also it's asked frequently. Maybe this question must be changed because many people confuse it. Are there any gatekeeper permissions that you're going to need? Many people say no, not understanding the question. But if you say yes, you have to put the information of the gatekeeper. Who is the person that's going to be giving you permission? So if you say no, then it won't give you options to add that person. There are types of researches where you are doing a study evaluating the municipality's misconduct of water, So in that way, Makhanda municipality will not give you permission. So you click on Research Gatekeeper Waiver. Then you explain that I'm doing research based on, I want to see how they waste money in providing us with water. So I'm searching for the mismanagement of funds at the municipality, and the Makhanda municipality will not gonna give me permission while they're trying to hide whatever they're trying to hide. So this is very important that you explain to us. Then we give you a gatekeeper waiver. It's explained there as well. And then again, I showed you on the website. These are the people that you write to. when you're looking for gatekeeper at Rhodes, if you're dealing with the Rhodes, if you're doing research here, the information is there. Always, when you write to the director of human resource, always copy that person, the PA. When you write to the registrar, always copy the PA, please. Very important, because it makes it easier for them to respond. And then the last one would be risk and benefits, normally asked as well. Many people get confused. When it comes to risk and benefits, you don't choose, you don't assume, you don't, what's the word? You don't just feel that, I feel like my research is low risk. I feel my research is high risk. I feel it's medium. No, you must go read. You click on I, you see what low risk means, what medium risk means, and what high risk means, and you look at your research and you select accordingly, because it's very important to know and understand. It's very important for the researcher to understand the type of research that they are doing. That's why I always emphasize when it comes to researchers and supervisors that when a student comes into your office and says, I want to do my master's in higher education, looking at this and this and that, in your talks with your student while you're looking for a research question, please discuss ethics. Do not wait until the last part of your proposal where it says ethical consideration and you're like, oh yeah, I'll keep anonymity. I'm just gonna write and keep confidentiality. I observe, no. You must, ethics covers your whole proposal. The thought of ethics and the discussion of ethics must start in the beginning. Who are your participants? Are you gonna need gatekeepers? Are you gonna ask interview questions? What kind of questions are you gonna ask? Are they sensitive questions? Is it a vulnerable group? Due to COVID, am I gonna cooling them in the one room? Am I gonna be face to face? How many meters are you going? Oh, those are ethical issues that we consider when you're reviewing. So once you get all that, it will then determine whether this is a medium or high risk within the proposal itself. While you're doing it, while you haven't finished even submitting it for higher degrees in ethics, you would already know that this proposal, low risk, this one, or this one, medium. You know, it will make it easier. But do not wait until the last breath of, because ethics can frustrate you if you've undermined it in the first phase of your proposal. It will frustrate you, to give you a problem, and then you'll always look at it as a stumbling block, as many students say it. It's a red tape, while it's not. So that is very important. Other than that, I'll stop there for now and take questions, because really, as I've said, the form is very simple. The important one was the signing. Sorry about that. So this form, once you sign as a student, you click on sign, and you've missed a question, it will show you there that these are the questions that you haven't filled. But once you're done with your form, you've shared it and you are happy. Once you start the process of signing and you request your signature from a supervisor to sign, the last person who signs the form gets automatically submitted to me. You get an email confirming the submission. If you have not received an email confirming a submission, rest assured your form is not submitted. Do not relax and put things aside and assume. We had cases last year and this year where a student submitted their form in June 2020, and they said, I submitted almost 7 months ago. This process is delaying. At Rhodes, it's your responsibility in everything that you do. It's a researcher's responsibility to make a follow-up and make sure that everything is submitted. We process applications. So it's very, very important for me to put it out there. It's a researcher's responsibility. Once they submitted, they follow up, they make sure that everything is in order. They have confirmations of everything. Then it's easy for you to make a follow-up and complain if all the procedures have been followed. That was the last part that I forgot to discuss. Thank you very much. Are there any questions, whether it's proposal related, research ethics related, or the form related?
There are some questions. I don't know why my laptop is now doing this now, but it's giving me the wheel of death. So I'll start with Nikki, and I can't actually move the chat right now. So Nikki, do you want to ask your question? you can just unmute your microphone and jump in.
Thanks very much. Thanks for the presentation. That was very useful. I heard that if the student is an honors student, then the supervisor does the application in the supervisor's name. Is this correct, or does it work like for masters and PhD?
That's correct. It does also work for masters and PhD. We for human ethics and animal, there's this thing called principal investigator, where a supervisor becomes the principal investigator and the student becomes a researcher. So when you can apply, mostly for honors, you can apply on their behalf, put them there. But and for masters and PhD, especially if there are students in Namibia or also in the country and they are struggling to access the system, you can apply on their behalf, but just make sure that you do click it. This is a master's project. This is the student's name. Information must fall in the correct order, but that will be fine. Yes, that's correct, Nikki.
Thanks, Sianda.
Okay, I'm having some trouble with Zoom on this end. I'm struggling to see the chat at the moment. Sianda, can you actually see the chat on your side?
Yes. The next question is from Lindelo and Minde. Please ask that question.
All right. Hi, Sianda. Thank you so much for the presentation. On my side, the first question is, it's giving me a notice that there is a newer version of the project and then an update thing. So should I just like update or what? I'm not sure what that means.
No, that's fine. Thank you for your question. It normally happens to the form. So what happens is the form updates itself with the South African server and our Rhodes University server, because remember the system that we're using is from UK, so it's administered in the UK. So it updates all the time. So once if they put new software on the form, it updates. So as a researcher, as a student, you don't update. It's just a notification on the system that doesn't involve you, so you don't have to update.
Okay, thank
Linda,
you. And
you have a next question?
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so I just leave it as it is. It's not gonna bother me anyways. Okay, no. That's fine. Okay, thank you. And the second question is with regards to the gatekeeper. Since I'm doing my study on the group that I'm managing, I kind of coordinated and I'm managing the group myself. So does that mean I have to click on the waiver? Because if it was someone else that was doing the research on us, then I would be the gatekeeper. So how does that work?
Can you elaborate more? Can you explain your study? Yes.
Hello.
Lindelo?
Hello.
We can hear you.
I think
you hear us?
Hello.
Oh,
no. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
My connection is very unstable. Sorry, I didn't.
Sorry.
Oh.
I was saying, Linda,
if you could explain in detail.
Can you explain your study in detail so that we can understand? How are you gatekeeper? Like, what is the study all about?
Sorry, I'm back now.
Welcome back. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm saying, can you explain your study a bit so that I can understand how are you the gatekeeper? Yeah.
Okay. My study is on well-being networks, and
maybe we should just move on to the next question before Lindell comes back. Francesca had a question about how you add a signature.
I'm here now. Can you still not hear me?
How do you sign online in this form?
Oh.
I think let's finish with Lindela first.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I don't know if she can hear us because she's got an unstable internet connection.
I can hear you, Sharon.
Let's see.
Can you not hear me? No? Yeah, I can hear you.
Hear you fine. I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Continue, Lindela, yes.
Oh, you can hear me. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so
I'm sorry, my Zoom is frozen on this side, so I can't actually see anything.
Okay.
Maybe if we
I
could
guess
just go to the next question in the chat, and then when Lindelwa comes back on again and she can hear us, she
I
can
think it's only you,
jump back
Sharon,
in.
that can't hear me, because everyone else can. So should I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay, cool. So
Okay. Well, I don't know. I can't see the chat. I'm sorry. I'm really struggling. I don't know what my Zoom is doing, but it has suddenly decided to freeze. So I can't actually access my screen right now or see the chat. It's all just kind of frozen, but I'm hoping you can still hear me. So I think there were other questions about the some of the practicalities of the form in the chat, if you can see that. And then I'm sure Lindelwa will be able to rejoin us and ask her question again.
I don't know, what do we do? All right, so my question, my study. I'm looking at well-being networks.
Sanda, are you there? Sorry.
Focusing on the, yeah, okay. So I'm looking at well-being networks, focusing on the networks that I created as the founder of an NPC, a non-profit organization. So now my question is, do I like with regards to gatekeepers, do I then click on the waiver because I'm the one that's kind of managing the group? So if it was someone else that was doing the study on us or on the wellbeing networks that I'm coordinating and managing, then I would be the person that they ask permission from. But in this case, since I'm the person that's doing the research on my group, on our group, so does that mean that I can use the waiver icon?
Okay, thank you for the question. I think yes, you can, but it's very important to understand that conflict of interest. Under conflict of interest, you must clearly state that you are also part and involved, and you must also explain your positionality of how your involvement might influence the research.
Yes, of course.
And also in that NGO, what position do you stay? Is the NGO, are you the gatekeeper of the NGO, like in a position that you can give a permission if it's someone else who's doing the research in that NGO?
Yes, because I'm the founder and the managing director of the NGO. Yes.
Okay, so do put that gatekeeper, and then you say it's yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, because you will need gatekeeper, but you just know that it's yourself, or else, as you've said, just say click on waiver and explain your involvement.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't say yes on gatekeeper. Just click on waiver and explain your involvement. Then on conflict of interest, please explain in details how this might impact on your research.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let me just go back up again. After Linda, there was another question. I'm sorry. Kudzai, your hand is up. Maybe we can get to you before I go back to the chat.
Okay, thank you. The problem that I'm having is with the gatekeepers. Some of the gatekeepers are the web administrator, like the webmaster. And I'd sent emails and I could not get feedback. And some of the blogs that I'm looking at, they've been decommissioned, like they are no longer available on the internet. So I've got a backup archive file from one of the writers. So in that case, since it's no longer available on the internet, it's something that now is a backup. It's just that I got it from Facebook. So I can take a screenshot and that's it when it comes to blogs, because I'm looking at different blogs.
Okay. Firstly, I'll just touch on the first part of your statement where you said some have been deactivated or are no longer there. So you can decide not to include them anymore. But to those that you have, even if you can get an inbox message or text that you can screenshot and say, because it doesn't need to be an email or a formal letter. Any form of a gatekeeper we accept, as long as it shows validity and we can trace it back to the gatekeeper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I'm asking is it's a group of writers who are using blogs. So it's only a matter of speaking to one of the administrators and then getting permission. So that's why I was asking maybe for a waiver for the one that has been decommissioned, because I have the material, I've been given the material. It's like using a book now. It's no longer online. It's now like printed, or because they've sent me the soft copy. So that's why I wanted to ask in my case.
Oh no, that's a different case. It doesn't even need a waiver. That's a different case. It's existing data that can be accessed. That doesn't even require gatekeeper.
Oh, okay, so in my case, I'll leave the one that for the option of gatekeeper.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
And then the other question was, sorry, let me just scroll down. I'm looking for Lindelo's question so that I can start from there. Okay, there's another question. How do you add a signature? Francesca, is it still a question or?
Yes, I just wanted to know how you basically load your authorized personal signature onto the system.
Oh, no. you don't load your signature. You just press sign.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, you just press sign and then it's signed. And then when you're requesting a signature to your supervisor, you just add their Rhodes email address and then you say a request. That's it. They will get a notification and then, yeah.
And then I had another question. What if later on I wrote, what if your research has got two components, animals and humans, because you can choose either, but you can't choose both?
Yeah, we have those issues once in a lifetime where we then request you to fill in both forms. I know it's but we don't have a form that allows on both. So you have to fill in the form separately.
Okay, thanks.
But in your form, there is a description where you have to explain that you've already applied for animal. This is just a part of human. So when the committee is reviewing, they would not take it as a full application, but it's part of a bigger project.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. Then another question is Nontre. Oh, Nontre was asking on the,
Hi, it's Nontre.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I have two questions actually. There was this part when you were showing us how to upload the document. I didn't understand, or I got lost when you were looking at the version part. You said you must add 1 or 2. I just got lost there and you were very quick on that part. Can you please explain it to me again?
Okay. Let me just go back to it. Sorry about that. I think it's the research activities, that one, where you were uploading documents like informed consent, questionnaires and whatnot. Yeah. So I was saying, let's say it says here, attach the copy of your proposed interview schedule or your questionnaire. So you click on upload. When you browse, it's going to take you to your computer and you can attach the form. And then under versions, you click on the current date, on that date that you're uploading on, which is today. If it's tomorrow, it will be tomorrow. And then under version, if it's the first, so some people have 2 or 3. So some people have 2 or 3 things that they're uploading. They're uploading an interview schedule and a questionnaire. So if you're uploading an interview schedule first, you save 1. It's the first version. And then you say upload. And then again, when you're uploading, because it uploads separately. And then again, when you're uploading now the questionnaire, you're going to say version 2 and then upload. So that you upload them separately.
Okay.
Yes. What's your second question?
My second question, judging from the questions that have been asked here, I thought I understood what a gatekeeper was. Now I'm just confused. Can you please explain to me again what a gatekeeper is?
Okay. Before I answer you, can I just go back to what Francesca is asking so that I can practically show her, because I'm now here and when it comes to signatures, then I'm going to come to that question.
Okay.
Francesca, you asked there, this is what I was talking about. So you don't need to upload any form of signature. You just, when you press here, then you've signed. When you request here, you put your supervisor's or your collaborator's email address, then it's done. So nothing more from that. Okay, and then coming back to your question, when it comes to gatekeeper, first and foremost, it's a very broad topic, if I can put it that way, where it depends on a particular research. It's not a blanket umbrella. What is done in education, then it must be done in humanities. As I've said, if a person is doing, like most of research that is done in humanities, sociology, for example, which I've come across most often, where they are doing research on farm workers. These farm workers are abusing their workers. So these farmers are abusing their workers. So a person wants to do research to find out whether are they really getting paid an orange an hour instead of incentives. But now the gatekeeper is a farmer who's doing the abuse. Of course, you cannot get gatekeeper from the farmer. So how do you bypass that? The committee cannot expect you to get gatekeeper. That's where the waiver comes in. So what is a gatekeeper? A gatekeeper is, in simplicity, it's just a way that is used by organizations or companies to be let aware of what the type of research that's going to happen within their facilities, if I can put it that way. Okay. So you're letting Rhodes aware that you have been doing this research, and then they're like, okay, go ahead and do that research. Although there are a lot of discussions where many people feel a different perspective on that, which is fair. But the thing is, some organizations feel that, can we be let known? It's just a good working environment where can we be told that someone is going to be doing research, we are aware, we make them feel comfortable, we provide them with the information that they need. We provide them with our employees the time aside. If you're coming to ShopRite and you're taking a cashier away from work for an hour, the manager or the company or the store must be aware of that research so that they can give you that person. So a gatekeeper is that kind of process, and it then boils down to a letter or an email or an SMS or an inbox text says you can come or go ahead. Because some of the research, when you go into Makanda, you will need information from a certain person, but you need permission to access that information. So that's why I'm saying when it comes to gatekeeper, it's important that when you're asking about the gatekeeper, ask it according to your study and don't look at it from a blanket umbrella that my friend requested a gatekeeper, so I'm sure that my research is going to request one as well. It's not the case.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so in my case, since I'm working with animals, my gatekeeper would be my HOD, the HOD of the department, or is it my supervisor?
You're working with animals? Yes. How? Like, what are you going to be doing with animals?
I'm working with fish, so we'll be going to Gaukama, which is there's a marine protected areas. It's a marine protected area. So we will be taking out those animals and try to insert accelerometers on them and then return them back to the ocean.
So where are you going to be capturing the fish from that particular organization?
Yes, in Gaukama.
Yes. So your gatekeeper is Gaukama.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you write to Gaukama just to say we'll be coming, conducting this research. Can we get permission to access the fish, and we euthanize them, we do whatever that you want to do and whatnot.
Okay, noted.
Yes.
It's clear now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Another question that I saw was Alexia. Alexia?
Hello, sorry.
You're complaining about acronyms?
Sure. So yeah, just as a non-English speaker, I would say that in the process, I saw a lot of acronyms and I'm clueless about them. So maybe for international researchers, that would be nice to just like write all the words. Yeah, just as an advice, because I don't know what all these abbreviations are in English. I never come across them. I had another question because I'm doing a PhD and I'm working on invertebrates mostly. And I want to fill up ethical application for octopus, which are sentient invertebrates that we need to ask for ethical clearance. But I saw that even if my study involves invertebrate subjects or even carcasses, I need to ask for ethical approval. And I haven't been told this by my supervisor, and I am 2 years in my PhD now, and I have zero ethical approval for all these invertebrates I sampled or what. So it's very confusing, and I don't know if that will like put my PhD at risk, or what do I do now, like after the fact is accomplished, you know?
Okay. Thank you for your question. I think for the first part, one of the acronyms, I will look into that because we do have that information box where it gives you more information about a particular topic, but we'll look into the acronyms as well. I've just noted that down. Secondly, regarding your study, most vertebrate research that is done, I do receive requests. Which department are you from?
The zoology department. So we have a permit to sample like mussels and all these lower invertebrates, but I don't know if it's also give ethical clearance at the same time. Like I don't know about it. I didn't get the information anywhere. Like,
okay, no, that's fine. I think in your case, what we can do is I'll drop my email address, and then please just write to me with your supervisor so that we can sort it out as soon as possible. But what I can advise in a broader context is that I think you are supposed to get ethical clearance so that it can be continued with your data collection. But if your supervisor did not tell you or advise you in any way, maybe there is another way. Because for invertebrates, because we normally get applications for vertebrates and invertebrates, or both. Yes. So it will depend how far you're in with your PhD, and we can see what we can do about it. But it's advisable that all animal-related research does get ethical clearance.
Well, from a practical point of view, we do ask ethical clearance for decapods, like lobsters and all that stuff, or octopus, cephalopods. But that's true that I think it's common that we don't ask for ethical clearance for lower invertebrate because we have a permit. So we figure out that if the fishery department is okay with us collecting, that's I don't know how you see it, because you know it's a lot of work. If I had to ask ethical clearance for my whole PhD, I would spend a month filling up this ethical clearance. So,
no, I don't. No, I don't think that.
You know.
No, I don't think that would be the case. That's why I'm saying just drop me an email, then we can sort it out by case. Don't worry about that.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Linda, are you asking about the dates? You can get the dates from the website that I showed you, the ethics website. So you click on, you just say www.ru.ac.za, then you click on research, then you click on ethics, then you go to that particular committee that you are looking for dates. At the end there, you can download dates. You can just click download, it's a Word document. Then the list of dates are there. And as I've said, as I've said, two committees, which is human and animal, do not have deadlines. So you can just plan ahead according to your schedule. But for Faculty of Education, there are deadlines when deadline to submit. And you can always give me a call. And then it will be easier for you to just, if you have any questions. I prefer calls more than emails, because sometimes I've got about 150 emails a day. It's easier if you give me a call and then I can just quickly respond to you. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
And then the other
The
question.
number that you provided is not complete. It's about
Oh,
9
sorry.
numbers, missing
Sorry.
1 digit. Okay, it's 27. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Maybe you can raise up your hand because I'm just going through the chat list, the chat. But if there are any other questions, you can just raise your hand if I've missed anything. Claire, you're saying, do we need to notify the department head of ethics when we have submitted so they can verify the application? Yes, yes. When you're applying for human or animal, you will get an email confirming your submission. In your email, it's written there in bold. Please notify your departmental rep that you've submitted so that they can start with the application. But this is not the case with the Faculty of Education because they don't have departmental reps. But with these 2 committees, yes, please. And if you don't know your departmental rep, you can ask your supervisor or just drop me an email because I know all of them. Then I can refer you to the one. No, Sipo. Is it an obligation to attach an abstract with the ethics application? What are you referring to? Can you elaborate on this?
I just finished. Thank you so much, Sienda. I finished doing the application form, and when I was just checking like a checklist, it wanted me to submit an abstract. A proposal. So I was just confused in terms of when I had initially done the application form, it never requested one, but now this time around it needs a proposal, research proposal. So I don't know, because I'm ready to submit, but I'm not ready with my proposal yet.
Which
Education.
form are you referring to? Education.
The ethics one.
Yeah, I know, but which form? There are 3 forms. There's education, there's animal, there's human.
It's human ethics.
Human ethics form. Human ethics form doesn't require to attach a whole proposal.
It does. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, just check and then give me a call, but it doesn't. As I did show you, it doesn't. It's only education form that because it's very short. Yeah. So you just attach the whole proposal. But with the human ethics form, it's very long. So there's a lot of questions that covers the proposal itself. You only attach the research instruments where required.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
I'll have to.
But just check and then just give me a call or just drop me an email, and then you can just finalize that as well.
Thank you so much.
Francesca, another question. What is one of the research has 2 components that deal with? Oh, okay, we've dealt with that. Okay. I think we've covered almost all.
Kunda had a question.
Yes.
Yeah, it's if your research is desktop or book-based, do you need a gatekeeper or do you request permission for a waiver?
No, we don't. If it's book-based, or desktop, we look at that research as existing data. It's already there. It's publicly accessible, if you can put it that way.
Right. So you would just get a waiver then, and that would be fine.
Yes, you can just say this is publicly available data.
Okay. Is that everybody's questions? Has Sianda answered everyone? If you haven't been answered, please put your hand up so we can see you now before we close. I think everyone.
Yeah, because I think this one, there's a question from Kundai, but I think we've answered it. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yes. Okay, well then, thank you everyone for your questions, because I'm sure actually that there were people who wanted to ask the questions and then didn't, and then you asked the questions and now everybody's got their answers. Thank you so much, Sianda, for your time. I'm sorry that I had to drop out at one point, my Zoom froze, but everything kept going, so that was great. And this was really, very practical and helpful. I recently had a student go through ERAS and she was asking me all sorts of questions and I didn't know how to answer her. So now I have some information to share with my students as well, which I appreciate. Thank you all very much for coming. Hopefully we'll see you. We've got 5 more seminars left until the end of this semester. We will be sending around details of those on the CPGS list. And of course, you can also find information via our Twitter and also our website. So if you have any questions about anything, please email cpgs@ru.ac.za. And Sianda's left his contact details in the chat. So please make sure you write those down before we go, in case you need to get hold of him. And then all that remains for me to say is thank you all very much again, especially Sianda, and enjoy the rest of your week and weekend.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Great. Thank you. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you again.